Welcome to the Denton Vibe with Diva Girl Ellie, powered in part by Classic of Denton. The views and opinions expressed by the show hosts and their guests are those of the show host and guests, and not necessarily those of the sponsors, DentonRadio.com, or the Denton Convention and Visitors Bureau. For more information, visit the Policies and Procedures page at DentonRadio.com.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on the Denton Vibe with Diva Girl Ellie, here in the studio at Denton Radio. It is cold outside. I hope you guys are staying warm. And tonight we're going to be sitting down with Kelly from the Hope Trust, and we're going to be talking about his music, or their music, correction.
Sure.
And we're going to be, getting to know him a little bit better and talking about what you're doing and getting the whole scoop. So how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we always like to know who you are as a person, a Dentonite, the story behind Kelly and the Hope Trust. There is another member that's not represented today, but you can fill in the gaps wherever you need.
I'm Kelly Upshaw. I moved here in 1999 to go to school to study jazz, which I did very little of. Ended up with a humanities degree, and but I've been here for a long time. It's been a place that I've been able to make a home and be creative in, and I enjoy that about it. So, I moved up here with my two brothers, Michael and Jason, and we've all kind of made music together throughout different phases of our life. But
Nice.
Mike is in the Hope Trust with me, and we're about to celebrate our 15th anniversary.
Okay,
so
that's amazing. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, being in a band in itself, it's 15 years is a big deal.
It is, yeah.
And then that you all are brothers and you haven't killed each other
No,
yet. No, I'm kidding.
We're very close, so yeah.
That's amazing. And that's really cool because not only do you have a musical journey together as a band, as a band musicians, but you're taking that journey with a family member, which makes it even more special.
Yeah.
And the bond is double rewarding, I would imagine.
It is, yeah. Our ability to be creative together it's really fun and rewarding. I mean, we can kind of get in the studio and work and not have to talk about it because we both know what we want to do. And
Yeah, I would imagine that at this point you guys are very cohesive in your thought process for musicianship, and you know what each other's thinking. It's kind of that relationship where you can finish each other's melodies and whatnot. So I would imagine that's really fun. Well, that's really cool. So you guys have been playing for 15 years. What kind of sound would you describe your music as?
I don't know. I like so many different types of music, and I feel like every record I'm kind of trying to reach a little bit further out of my comfort zone. And I think when I started the band, I was probably more into like playing an acoustic guitar and doing the singer-songwriter thing because I hadn't had more experiences and grown out of that. And not that that's a bad place to be. There's a lot of great music that comes from that. But for me, I just couldn't stay in that place. And so it's kind of gone from like my stab at folk music to pop music to rock and roll. I mean, I kind of call it rock and roll. And it's kind of a broad catch-all for what we do. I mean, synthesizers are definitely a big part of our sound, and they have been in different stages, like for the totality of our career as a band. But lately, I'm kind of just more into electronic stuff, and I certainly ingest a lot of it. I'm not exactly sure how that'll come out, but some of the new stuff we're working on some of it's all electronic at this point. So
I absolutely love that whole electronic vibe when you put it in with rock. It just gives it that. To me, it's very well. I don't want to say that about your music because I've only heard a few songs, and the ones that I have heard, they're great, and I like them a lot. And so it's reminiscent of the '80s for me.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
I love the '80s music, so it's always interesting to see how people modernize the synth.
Yeah.
And implement that into their sound and their music culture for their band and stuff like that. So
Yeah. I mean, we're children of the '80s, so that was always kind of a thing. My mom was really into Talking Heads when we were kids, so some of the new wave stuff kind of caught on with us, and it just kind of comes out later on in life. So
nice.
Yeah.
So okay, you guys have been around for 15 years, and you're obviously the growth between you, the band, and your music is already it's on a path.
Yeah.
So what do you see yourself doing within the next 6 months as far as a band?
I think I want to focus on working on a new record over the winter time. I've got a few other projects that I've got to finish mixing and get completed for other bands as a producer. And so I stay pretty busy between that and being a dad. And but I really want to focus on just working on a new record, a little more timely than we have been known to be. We kind of take a while between records.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. I think self-censorship is not a bad thing. And if I'm going to strip my life for material, I kind of have to live a little bit between making records.
Well, it kind of gives you the material you need.
Yeah.
You know? So it definitely gives you the material you're needing to write your stuff and experience that through your words and lyrics. So, okay, what have you guys been doing as far as you're going to go into studio later to do the record. So right now you guys are you performing around town? What's the story with that?
This show is kind of just a one-off in the fall. We wanted to do something to kind of, celebrate our
15 years
longevity, and so we're doing a one-off show. And then we're going to go into recording and stuff. This year's kind of been a little bit of a slow year for us. We've had, a few deaths to process, and it's been an interesting time. So we've kind of been through a lot, Mike and I both, in the last 2 years. So
and you need that time to recuperate and.
But as you said, there's material for writing about. So.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I know that when stuff like that happens and. Unfortunately, that's what happens in life. There's definitely always a flip side, and there's always a positive thing that comes to an artist through those experiences. And to me, I feel like it's a gift of them, whoever has left. It's a gift to us to create that and mold it into what we're trying to say, and it's a beautiful thing when you use it in your art like that to honor somebody.
Sure.
Or is inspired by someone.
I think I've written enough sad stuff in my life though anyway, so I'm ready to kind of make a more fun record. That's where my mind's been lately.
That's a big contrast because your style you usually go one way, and when you finally get to the point where you're like, I'm going to make a conscious effort to get out of that sad comfort zone. Because I write the same way. I do poetry. And so my poetry is always this way. I'm like, no, I need to be a little bit more this way.
Yeah, I kind of want to celebrate the full spectrum of experience. And I think some of our later stuff's been a little bit more fun. But yeah, I can definitely listen back to early records. And it's like, man, you're just like a sad 20-year-old. So,
Hey, you know what? That's life, though.
Is life,
we do go through it, and that's what people relate to. So we're going to be like, oh, dude, I remember that one time.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We relate on those levels. So you guys are going to be celebrating 15 years, which, like we said, it is a huge deal to be together musically for that long. And so what do you envision your night like? What do you envision for that party? Because in my head, I would be like, party time. This is a big milestone in our lives. We're gonna do all this. So what do you see for that night?
Well, we've got a pretty cool light show worked out.
And that's amazing.
That'll be fun. It's just kind of something we've been messing with in the last week or two, but might issue a epilepsy warning if you go that way.
Hey, as long as you put the disclaimer out there,
Yeah. So, but it's fun to play in town. Playing in Denton's very different than playing anywhere else because you are in front of your peers. It's not like strangers that are excited about you. It's people that know you, so it's kind of like, hey, cool,
Obligatory fellowship right here.
Or just a little more measured, I guess. Yeah. So, but we're playing at Dan's, and Dan's Silverleaf has kind of been an integral place for us. We've probably played most of our shows there. We're kind of one of those bands that don't play a lot, and we don't tour much. So it's just always been kind of a place for us to do our thing, and if people want to come to it, they can come to it. So, but Dan Mojica is definitely one of my favorite dudes in town.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's just been really supportive and kind to us, and given us some great opportunities along the way. So.
Well, that's a great place to have a show. I absolutely love shooting there as well. There's something about the stage and the way they present their lights. And I can imagine if you're bringing a light show to Dan's, it's going to be over-the-top photography. For those of you that actually love shooting, he's giving you a heads up on that light show. And aside from the music, if you love shooting colored lights, which I used to do concert photography, so it's an addiction to me. So get out there and shoot his show. And speaking of which, When is this show?
The show is Friday night, November 15th. And I think the doors are at 8. We're playing with Scott Danbaum and Taylor. I'm blanking. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be on the invite.
Yeah, it's out there.
It's out there. You guys go to the invite. And so I want to hear a little bit of your music if we can right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see what kind of musical snack Jake throws at us here.
Yeah.
You can tell me what it is. We can just chill and listen for a little bit.
Why do you want it from me? Hey, 20 to 1. 'Cause you think it's fun to make a sucker.
What song is this?
Me.
This is Campaign
Like
Button.
what you've done. I'm not working for you.
What's this one about?
Well, it's called Campaign Button, and it's about my son is saying hi to me, so I'm saying hi to my son.
He hears you out in the lobby. Yeah.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, Campaign Button.
He's like, that's you.
Yeah, it's Dad. That song's probably been one of our biggest radio mainstays, especially every election cycle that one comes up, because I just think it's about being discontent with government leadership, and I think whatever your politics are, I think everybody feels that to some degree. And in overwhelming proportions lately. So
yeah, it's very relevant to our culture and our climate right now. Like you said, on either side it goes, so it's very relevant. I want to hear another piece if possible. Go to the jukebox, man.
Just another broken land. I lose heart at the sight of you.
What song is this?
This is called Another Broken Land.
Broken sands. Pictures on your knees and hands. I lose heart at the sight of you.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, that one's, I think I was probably processing political feelings when I wrote that record. That's from Silver and Lead, which came out before our last record, Passengers. And, yeah, I mean, that song's just about, political opportunism, I suppose. People exploiting situations for their benefit, but rarely kind of reaching out to help other people. And I just think compassion and care for others
goes a long
from
way.
A genuine place is pretty essential to, happiness and quality in life. So.
In harmony. Yeah, definitely. So obviously there's a tone. Is the rest of the album in that tone, or it just so happened to be a coincidence?
I think that's probably just where my mind was at the time. So, you
know what? That's what books, music, and poetry, even art, it's signs of the time.
Yeah.
We're very influenced by what our world is at the moment. So I like it. Is this the same one? I can't tell.
This is a different one. This is the first song off our new record.
Okay.
Yeah, newest record.
I like the vibe of this one. What is this one?
This is Shadows.
I like the sound.
If you need a good divorce record, go buy our last record. So, yeah.
Oh, man. Well, there you go. I'm like, I hear a horn on the square. You guys, somebody's horn's going off. I hope it's not mine. Well, that's cool. I like that one too. Let's see if we can get another one. I just love scrubbing through the music.
No,
I know.
Cool. Yeah, I don't really get to sit down and listen to it like this. So,
It's name that tune.
Yeah, I have to think.
Do we have another musical snack, Jake?
I get high, I get low. My feet carry me to places better left unknown. I get right, and I get wrong.
This one's really cool too. It's got that. I don't know, it has like a bluesy feel to it.
Yeah.
I'll try to work it out. Try to love you like myself. So you
What was the name of the bluesy one?
That one's called Get Right. Yeah. I think that one's kind of about everybody's kind of a walking contradiction, you know, with multiple sets of needs that they carry, and sometimes those sets of needs are in conflict with each other, and you know, you can get it together for a little while, but sometimes, you know, life will shake you up a little bit. So,
yeah, well, you know what? Every once in a while we have to stand at the crossroads.
I guess so, yeah. That's a very blues reference there.
Yeah, there you go. And that last one that just came out, the one that you just played, Jake.
That was Light Can't Escape, I think.
Very cool tune as well.
Which, that was the title track off of our record, Light Can't Escape.
So how many albums have you done?
We have done 3 full lengths and 2 EPs. One of those is not available, but that doesn't make me sad because it was the very first one we made. So.
You know, a lot of people will say that about their first one. They're like, I just want it to go away.
But I'm also kind of old enough and at ease enough with it that it doesn't really bother me because, you know, you got to start somewhere, and it's kind of fun to look back. You know, looking back and seeing, you know, you've done a lot of things that's gotten better as you do it. And I don't think music is necessarily, it's not about money for me because I think anybody knows that there's not a lot of money in it. But I think it's such a great exercise to kind of process my experience and you know, create from nothing and, you know, just doing something. I think people like to do things. And it's a good thing to do for me. So,
yeah, definitely. And I can relate to that because, I mean, it's like almost, and it's not the same, but it is kind of that rewarding feeling you get like when you cook for someone and you're waiting for them to taste it just to see their reaction. And I can imagine I've performed poetry, but I've never done music. So I can imagine the rush and the rewarding feeling and the, you know, the natural high of doing something like that, along with some nerves, you know. It's just really neat.
It's a good exercise for me. It's just I'm able to put stuff that I might not be able to talk about or deal with just in a conversation kind of into a safe place to deal with it. And, you know, music is kind of a conversation. So, yeah,
definitely. I know you get to a point in your life where you know, something you couldn't talk about before, you can now verbalize in music or you're writing. And to be able to share that with someone is a big, and I say this several times on my show, I don't know why we all walk the same line pretty much sometimes in life. And so it's a very healing process when you're finally able to give that and release it out because you're finally at a point where you can look at it in the face and say, this is me, this is what I walked. Here you go. Yeah. You know, if it helps, if you enjoy it for just music purposes, you know, or if it has a healing value, then my job's done. Yeah. And that's the rewarding feeling that you get back as being a musician, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's always an interesting conversation when people ask you about what your songs mean or they tell you what they think it means because it's like, man, I had never thought about that at all.
Yeah, but, it is because perspective.
Yeah, everybody kind of brings their own experience to what they encounter in terms of art. But
definitely.
I was going to say, it is, you know, it's really fun as a dad to be creative. Like I have a 4-year-old kid who's really bright, plays the drums already. It's kind of crazy. Nice. But it's really fun for me to take him to my studio, to show him that I'm working on ideas and show him that I start something and complete it, you know. That's kind of a thing that took me off guard. I didn't expect to find that satisfaction, but it is.
Yeah, and that's your number one student right there. Yeah. He is definitely absorbing everything, not only just in a parental, you know, son type of environment, but as your student, because he is going to put everything he learned from you he's going to apply it. Yeah. And if he's already playing the drums, then he's already got a set path, I would imagine. So that's pretty neat. That's definitely pretty neat. So, okay, and you were talking about your future album, your next album, whatever you're going to record, being more electronic, and you're going to be stepping out of your comfort zone, a little bit more into the happy tones of it.
Maybe not. Happy is a strange word, especially with music. Okay. But I'm kind of withdrawn as a person sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like performance for me is just a way that I'm increasingly more comfortable just being. And I think one of my kind of premises for the new stuff I'm writing is I want it to make me want to move my body a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that sounds really corny.
No,
But like
not at all.
I love the way music can kind of just, get you going to a pulse and get you moving. And I like that aspect of performing too, is like when I feel really loosened up and not so inside of myself.
Yeah.
When I play, I feel like I'm just so presently in the moment. And I think a lot of other times in life, it's very easy to kind of be distanced from what you're doing at the time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I know that there is a very big difference in an artist who performs well and is amazing, and an artist who performs well is amazing and gives you that stage presence through their movement.
Yeah.
It's so dynamically different that your experience is completely, on two different levels, and it's not to diminish what this artist is doing, but when you have someone who's so comfortable in their skin because they're so absorbed in the purity of their music, it's just like bam, their body has no boundaries because it's all being translated out. And I think that is one of the biggest things or maybe even challenging thing to master as an artist, because then they start to feel like, well, am I being too dramatic?
Yeah.
I'm a musician, not a dancer type of thing. But some of the best people on stage are the ones that they don't care. They're just letting it out.
Yeah.
However that comes out.
It's kind of a moment where you're free from your self-consciousness. I think it's very easy to be self-conscious and not comfortable to perform generally. And that's what people find frightening about music, I guess. But
yeah, definitely. I know I've felt it. I mean, I've always wanted to, but it's always that stage fright. That whole, oh no.
Yeah, I mean, you have to come to a realization that there's really nothing to be embarrassed by in life. Everybody's kind of going through the same thing. So who cares if you're really horrible at performing, Just go do it.
Just go do it, have fun. And, you have to admire the people that are challenged.
Yeah.
And that they are just having the time of their lives.
Yeah.
And they're just like, you know what? I had a great time. Who cares what everybody thinks?
It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, it definitely is. So you guys are going to be out there at, correct me if I'm wrong, it's going to be Dan Silverleaf on Friday, this Friday.
Yep.
Okay. And you can get your tickets, obviously, at the door.
They're online also. Pre-Kindle has it. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so where can they find your music, check you guys out, listen to your sound, kind of get familiar?
We're on Apple Music, Spotify, all those vendors, and you can buy a good old-fashioned LP on vinyl at Recycled or Mad Records.
Mm-hmm.
We're out there. So,
it's too late now.
Yeah, I mean, there's no going back.
Yeah,
so,
well, you've invested in 15 years of it, so you're pretty good. So I want to hear a little bit more before we start wrapping it up.
Why don't you hold my hand and make me understand what this love is for, if I need it anymore?
What song is this one?
This is Shadows, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But it's it's a song about a marriage not working out, and it's something that a lot of people go through.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that feels kind of like the light gets sucked out of your world, or maybe your idea of the world is abruptly shaken up. But
Definitely a deep topic.
it's fine. I'm okay with it, whatever. I'm here and this is me and I exist, so whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was an interesting thing to go through, and art is a really good place to kind of process it. And
definitely.
yeah. So.
Well, definitely. Okay. Well, you guys need to make sure you go check out his music, and you can find yourself on Instagram. Well, not yourself, but us. We can find you on Instagram. And
yeah.
So,
I don't mess around with a lot of that stuff,
hey,
but
you know what? A lot of people don't.
Yeah. So.
The music platforms are what you do.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys check out the music on the platform, Spotify, Apple, or what is it? Apple Music?
Apple Music, yeah.
Apple Music. Make sure you buy tickets, pre-Kindle. Get out there.
Support local art, go see shows, do all those things, please.
Yes, and definitely share the fun, share the snaps, tag them, do whatever you need to do to share the musical love. I'm all about sharing. I love when people share stuff. It is what we do. It is our livelihood.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
Thanks for having me, Ellie.
Yeah, definitely. I will have to check your music out live. I can't wait to see it and hear it. And you guys get out there and you bundle up and stay warm. And we will see you next week on the Denton Vibe with Diva Girl Ellie here in the studio.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. We want to thank our partners and sponsors who made this show possible. And now stick around for a word from all of us here at Discover Denton. Do you love live music? If so, make Denton, Texas your next vacation. Find more information at discoverdenton.com.